The movie starts by introducing us to the protagonist, a high school girl named Satoka Takabana. Currently, she is headed to school by bus, and it's evident all the boys are attracted to her beauty. Among them is a fellow classmate named Suzuki. He openly expresses his feelings for Satoka, although he had rejected her previously when she had confessed her love for him. Suddenly, the bus jolts and causes panic among the passengers. Satoka looks out the window and sees her older brother, Haruka, recklessly kicking the bus as he rides by on his bicycle. Although his actions are dangerous, fortunately, no one is hurt. On arriving at the school, Haruka threatens Suzuki to stay away from his sister. He believes Suzuki doesn't deserve his sister after he previously rejected her. In the meantime, Satoka is approached by two other boys who also express their love for her. One of them is Chiaki Miyoka, a young lad who is a womanizer and a player, and the other is Takani Surakawa, a doctor by profession. It's revealed that he's Satoka's first love, but he also rejected her when she proposed to him some time ago. The two boys express their love for Satoka in their respective ways. Chiaki attempts to be romantic by saying sweet words, whereas Takani is a cool and dashing guy who tries to impress Satoka with his good looks and extravagant wealth. It's then revealed that Chiaki and Takani are not the only ones who have fallen in love with Satoka. An apprentice teacher named Yataka Sensei has also fallen in love with her. However, her overly protective brother Haruka is always around, trying to keep the boys who approach Satoka away. He even beats them up if the necessity arises. Haruka firmly believes that no one can make his sister cry or annoy her but himself. It turns out that he has been hiding an important secret from his little sister, which will be revealed later in the movie. One afternoon, Satoka sunbathes with her friend Miyaki, who is Chiaki's sister. She explains that her brother is quite serious about his feelings for Satoka. At the same time, a boy joins them claiming that his brother Takane is also equally serious about pursuing Satoka. Hearing all this, our protagonist girl is further confused and she starts wondering which boy is better for her. Even during school, she continues to ponder this dilemma. Satoka is so lost in her world that she slips on the stairs. Luckily for her, the apprentice teacher, Yataka Sensei, catches her. With his crush in his arms, the teacher cannot stop blushing. Meanwhile, other students seem jealous as Yataki Sensei is considered the most handsome teacher at school. Later, Chiaki approaches Satoka with a cute puppy. This understandably melts her heart, prompting her to play with it. But just then, Haruka arrives at the scene and warns Chiaki not to get close to his sister. He is adamant about keeping all the boys away from her. However, Miyaki, who is also there, asks Haruka to give her brother a chance. She claims that he is a responsible and sweet person, and hearing this, Haruka finally agrees. That evening at home, while the brother-sister duo are play-fighting with each other, Takani stops by to greet Satoka. He flirts with her for a while before having a private chat with Haruka. Once they are alone, Takani reveals that he knows about the secret that Haruka has been keeping from his sister. It turns out that the two aren't biologically related, meaning that they aren't actual siblings. Satoka was adopted by the Takabana family when she was just a year old. He also speculates that Haruka has non-brotherly feelings for Satoka. Surprisingly, Haruka admits that he loves Satoka and warns Takani not to pursue her, as she will eventually be his. He is sure that he will marry her. However, Takani doesn't back down and challenges Haruka, stating that she will choose him. The following day, Haruka and Satoka go to a fireworks festival. On the way, they meet Chiaki and Takani, who are also headed to the festival. The three boys then play a game to determine who will accompany Satoka to the festival. Consequently, Chiaki gets to go in first, Takani second, and Haruka is forced to accompany last. At the festival, Chiaki and Satoka seem to enjoy each other's company. They play games and spend quality time together. After that, when it's Takani's turn, he invites Satoka to a temple where they say some prayers. He even gives her a surprise kiss. Haruka observes them from afar and gets jealous, but holds back his anger. He has been choosing not to reveal the secret, assuming that it will make her sad. As Satoka steps down from the temple, she suddenly slips and Haruka leans in to help her. He does manage to save her, but he gets injured in the process. He is rushed to the hospital fearing the worst, but fortunately, the doctors explain that he only sustained minor bruises. After a while, Chiaki also arrives at the hospital and immediately goes to talk to Satoka. Surprisingly, she asks him not to approach her anymore as she has made her decision to be with Takani. This understandably upsets Chiaki, but he respects her decision and decides to let her go. Later at home, Satoka tries to help Haruka while he is taking a shower, as his hand hasn't healed properly. However, while washing his hair, Satoka mistakenly slips on the soapy surface and ends up in the bathtub with Haruka. Seeing her dripping wet with water, Haruka becomes nervous. He grabs a towel and wraps it around her. Then suddenly, he hugs her from behind and requests that she not date Takani. Satoka is shocked and confused at the same time. Remaining silent, she gets mixed feelings as she is aware they are siblings, but doesn't know that they are not biologically related. Satoka's heart starts racing loudly, and she gets very nervous. At the same time, they hear someone approaching, so Satoka quickly hurries inside her room. She then wonders why her heart started throbbing so loud when Haruka was hugging her from behind. She also wishes they weren't siblings, as some part of her likes Haruka in a romantic way. The next day at school, Takani comes out of a fancy car to take Satoka on a date. All the other students are impressed by his good looks and wealth, except for Haruka, who is noticeably jealous and annoyed. He angrily warns Takani to always take care of his sister and never break her heart. The rich guy is visibly annoyed by the overprotective Haruka, but nonetheless, he agrees before departing. For their first date, Takani takes Satoka to a dinner in a luxurious restaurant. However, our girl doesn't seem to feel comfortable there. She thinks to herself that the food was so fancy that she almost couldn't eat it. She only wishes to eat chicken made by her brother. In the meantime, Haruka is heartbroken and considers moving on from Satoka since she clearly prefers to date Takani. Later, Takani takes Satoka for a walk to enjoy the beautiful night view. After walking for a while, he invites her to his car where he intends to make love with her. However, Satoka immediately refuses, claiming that she is not ready to do it with him. Feeling rejected, Takani reveals the dark secret about the Takabana family. He is aware of the fact that Satoka isn't the biological child of the family, meaning Haruka and her aren't related at all. Additionally, he reveals that Satoka was adopted by the family when she was just 1 year old. Shocked to the core, Satoka quickly runs away from there with tears in her eyes. Once she arrives home, she demands an explanation from Haruka about her not being his younger sister. She also questions whether she has always been an outsider to the family. With a heavy heart, Haruka confirms Takani's words and reveals everything. It turns out that Haruka also found out about this not that long ago. He then tells Satoka that his family will still love her no matter what happens. She will always be a part of the Takabana family, and the bond between them will never change. The only reason they didn't reveal the truth to her was because they didn't want it to affect her studies. However, Satoka still feels devastated as she realizes she is an orphan and has no close relatives. The next day at school, Satoka continues to be affected by the recent revelation, so she looks gloomy and inattentive in class when the teacher announces something important. It turns out that the apprentice teacher Yutaki Sensei's tenure at the school is ending that day. After conveying the information to the students, Yutaki Sensei approaches Satoka and tells her that after today, they will no longer have a teacher-student relationship. He intends to openly express his feelings for her and ask her out on a date. However, Satoka is too caught up in her own thoughts. She can only think about Haruka and the recent discovery that is going to change her life one way or the other. While looking outside the school's window, Satoka reminisces about the time she and Haruka were little. She also comes to terms with the realization that her love for Haruka may have been something more all along. Following this, Satoka rides her bicycle at full speed trying to find Haruka. On her way, she recalls more of the time spent together with him and assumes that maybe Haruka might also have the same non-sibling feelings for her. This is surely the reason why he is always possessive and protective of her. He would instantly get annoyed and jealous when there were other boys approaching Satoka. Shortly after, Satoka discovers Haruka's whereabouts, who turns out to be having a private conversation with Takani at a church. The two lads are discussing their feelings for her. Sensing Satoka's presence, Takani asks her to show herself, prompting her to nervously come out from behind a pillar. He then convinces her to listen to her heart, while also explaining that she no longer needs to hide her feelings. Takani doesn't want to have a romantic relationship with a girl who doesn't really love him. When Satoka doesn't say a word, Takani gets his answer and decides to give up on her. He then leaves the premises, but not before telling Haruka to always care for her and to never make her cry. After this, Satoka finally expresses herself to Haruka, revealing that she really loves him like a girl who would love the boy of her dreams. She always had mixed feelings for him, as she falsely believed they were siblings. But now that she knows the truth, her feelings are much clearer. Satoka is 100% sure she really loves Haruka and wants to be with him. This makes Haruka very happy, so he embraces Satoka in his arms and kisses her. This finally marks the start of their relationship. The couple then decides to talk about their love affair with their parents. Initially, their parents are shocked to find that Haruka and Satoka are officially seeing each other. But after a bit of thinking, they approve of the relationship. One day, Haruka recalls the time that he had promised that he would marry Satoka someday, but she doesn't seem to remember it, so Haruka is disappointed. Feeling guilty, Satoka gives him a surprise kiss on the lips, marking the end of the film.